It's 7:25, and I'm going to call the meeting back to order, please. We have
Madam
one
Chair,
more-
I just, since I inadvertently overmitted one of the public forum speakers, I would like to call her at this moment. Jamie Wolf. Would you state your name and address, and you have up to 5 minutes. Thank you.
Need to get the mic.
Okay, I wasn't real sure how this worked. And my address is 8333 Lake Village Circle, 37938. I'm an elementary ESL teacher here in Knox County, and I'm here to speak for our English language learners. There's almost 2,000 of them in our system. I have several concerns about how things are going for them in our schools right now. First, with Knox County's implementation of the Common Core curriculum, it's been made more rigorous for all of our students. Our ELLs are really struggling. I see my students, not just a couple, multiple students in tears on a regular basis because they're overwhelmed with the work in their classrooms. They're shutting down. I know, and the researcher Stephen Krashen discussed the affective filter and how important that is for students. These kids cannot learn if they are so stressed out that they are in tears in their classroom. When I talk to their teachers about what we can do for them to make things go better in their classroom, they really feel their hands are tied. They say the pace that they're expected to follow is so fast, they don't have time to do any more small group work with them and slow things down for these students. I know one teacher referred to our pacing guides as the racing guides, and that's really what I think it feels like for our students. They're getting, especially our ELLs, are getting left behind. Furthermore, the new instructional materials policy that the board adopted, I guess, in August, that we were informed about when we came back to school, feels very limiting to teachers. I don't know if this was your intent when you passed it or not, but it's the way it was presented to us made a lot of teachers scared to maybe even have a classroom library, use outside books that do not go with the Reading Street curriculum. And I think that's hurting our students. We're not able to engage them as much and really reach to their heart and meet their needs the best that we can. My second concern is the amount of testing that the students are doing. We are losing so much instructional time, and I don't know how many classroom dollars on all these tests. For example, my students have to do weekly reading tests. They have to do math tests for every unit. They have to do Discovery Ed tests in 3 subjects 3 times a year, CBM test 3 times a year, constructed response assessments, the writing assessment. They have to do their English language assessment as being ELL students, the TCAP and the SAT-10 and the tripod survey. That is excessive. I think I'm probably losing about 1/4 of my instructional time with them helping administer all these tests. I also noticed they're getting very disengaged. They don't want to do better on the test. They don't really care how they do on the test. Their eyes are kind of glossing over, and they're too young. They're too young. They should be inspired to be lifelong learners and engaged in the elementary school curriculum. And my final concern is especially the SAT-10 testing of the K through 2 students. Our English language learners are allowed absolutely no accommodations on this assessment, which is absolutely unacceptable. They are required to sit through 4 days of testing on a language that they are just now learning. Even if they are new to the country, they have to sit through these 4 days with no help. It is not appropriate for any primary students. You've heard there's been lots of research that the standardized testing is unreliable for these young students. For our ELLs, they shouldn't even be proficient in English at this point. It takes about 5 to 7 years to reach proficiency in English, and they're nowhere near that when they're asked to sit and do these tests. I know from my experience watching my students take this assessment, mostly they're guessing. They're learning that day to sit and be quiet and fill in bubbles neatly. I went home feeling super guilty after giving this assessment to kindergartners. I felt like I had done a bad thing that week. One of my colleagues had a student who had just moved from the country the week before SAT-10 last year. And this little girl, of course, she had to do her 4 days of SAT-10. And she told the teacher that her heart hurt coming to school. It was not at all a good welcome. So my recommendations for the board to help our ELLs is to revise the pacing guides, leave a little room in there for the teachers to slow down and reach their students' needs when they can, to cancel the Discovery Ed and SAT-10 testing and any other testing that is not required, so we can have more instructional time with our students. And as kind of a long-term goal, to appeal to the state to revise our evaluation system and adopt one that de-emphasizes the test scores so we can look more at educating the whole child. Einstein once said that the only thing that interferes with my learning is my education. My fear is that the education we're providing in Knox County is interfering with true learning. My hope is that we can aspire to do more. Thank you.
And with that, Madam Chair, concludes our public forum.
Thank you.